2, 1. Okay, so this is system of equations. We're using the elimination method. So remember, with the elimination method, we are going to eliminate a term, and it needs to be opposite of each other. So it needs to have the same variable, but opposite signs. So the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my system of equations before I even think about, what my solution is which term I can eliminate. So if I'm looking here, I notice that 8 and 3, they're not the same constant, so they're not going to cancel each other out. The next term that I have is negative 4y and a positive 4y. I know that negative 4 and positive 4 are opposites of each other, and they're going to cancel each other out. And so the next step I'm going to look at is if it's in column form. The x's are aligned, which is good. The y's are also aligned, which is good. The constants are also aligned. So it's good because it's easy for me to add it together. So I'm going to take my two equations and I'm going to add it together. And so starting with the first term, 8x plus 3x is 11x. Remember our 4x, our negative 4y and our positive 4y, they're going to cancel each other out, which is good. Bring down my equal sign, and now I have 36 plus or minus 14. So you can say 36 plus negative 14 or 36 minus 14. Regardless, you'll get the same answer, which is 22. And so now this is easy. This is a one-step equation. I can go ahead and solve for x. So I know that this here is multiplication, so I'm going to do the inverse operation to solve for x. So I'm going to divide both sides by 11. So we know 11 divided by 11 cancels out because that's just 1. We don't need to write the coefficient of 1 in front of the x, equals 22 divided by 11, which is 2. So I have my first coordinate in my solution, but I also need to figure out the y. So I can take any of these equations, doesn't matter which one, and I'm going to plug x into it. So this is good, and I'm going to choose this first equation here. So wherever I see x, I'm going to plug in for 2 because I already know my value for x. So 8, and remember this is x and this is multiplication. I replace it with my 2 minus 4y equals 36. So I just literally copied the same equation and substituting it for 2. Now 8 times 2, 16 minus 4y equals 36. So this is the two-step equation that you guys are already familiar. Remember, you want your variables on one side, you want your constants on the other. So I have a positive 16, and I want to bring it to the other side. That means I'm going to subtract 16. Okay, and so again, just like our negative 4y and our positive 4y, this is going to cancel out as well. But positive 16 and negative 16 cancels out. I'm just going to simply bring down my negative 4y. And then this is 36 minus 16, or you can think of it as 36 plus negative 16. Regardless, it's going to give you the same answer of 20. Last is now a one-step equation. And so I know that this here is multiplication. I'm going to do the inverse operation. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. And so y is going to equal 20 divided by negative 4. It's going to give me a negative 5. I have my x value of 2, my y of negative 5, and now I'm going to write it in an ordered pair because I can graph this solution of where these two equations meet. So I have 2 and negative 5.